So I don't know if we're allowed to film this. I'm gonna keep as quiet as possible. But this is the waiting area. So we're pulling up here now, and this is where we're gonna have to wait for probably the next anywhere from 5 to 7 hours it can take for all of us to get our paperwork situated, figure out how many days we're in quarantine, what hotels we're going in, and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. Man, this is scary. Like, look at all the seats, all spaced for when it's like super busy. Luckily, the flight that we're on, we're one of the first ones in for today, so should go fairly quickly. But not looking forward to this process, but I'm going to keep you guys updated as much as I can. And let the fun begin. Time warping ahead. It's actually the next day, and this is my quarantine hotel. Back to shoebox kind of hotel rooms. But if there's one thing that Japanese people do well, is they use their space very, very well. So we'll give you guys a quick tour of everything. This is the bathroom right here. It's once again like a little shoebox. It's pretty much this plastic room all in one piece like this. So you can see, little office desk there, which I have the laptop set up, the bed. It's actually pretty comfy. I don't know why, but every hotel I've been to in Japan, the pillows suck. Like, look how thin this is. It's junk. Anyways, I might call them later and ask for another one. But we got some story times for you guys. But first, check out this view. I lucked out with this hotel. I'm in the middle of Tokyo. The Kirin building is over there. You can kind of still see the big golden poo there. See that? It's supposed to be foam at the top of a beer glass, but it's been named forever as like the golden poo. Right there, it might be hard to see, but that's Skytree. So we've got a pretty nice view of Skytree and just the Tokyo City. That aside, I had to put the camera away where we last left off. Pretty much the moment we got in there, they were very strict about not filming anything. And like, they were even like cautious about pulling your iPhone out. And for good reason, I might add, because I think if it got out how bad the conditions were at the airport with the waiting times and all that kind of stuff, I think it would probably cause a bunch of issues for them. But I mean, regardless, I'm personally going to be putting a complaint in with the Health Ministry of Japan, because wait till you get a description of what I went through. But probably the most frustrating experience to date of my life. Long story short, we'll try to just like make it as compact as possible. But I had all of my paperwork in order before boarding the flight. I went to the website, downloaded everything, had everything pre-filled out. When we arrived, we stayed on the plane for a fair bit before they let us off. You know, certain groups of people got like taken off first, like people who were just stopping in Japan for an international connection. They went off first, then everyone else got off the plane, and then people were separated between like SOFA status people and people who work for the US military and whatnot, and then people that are residents and people like, you know, Japanese citizens and stuff like that. So we got separated there. The SOFA USA guys, like who all work for the military, all went off into like by themselves, and then we had to sit back and wait, and we then left. Pretty much the entire time we didn't even get to go through like customs or anything, or like immigration. We all were still just stuck on that side of the airport before even getting to like immigration and all that. And the process was kind of insane. Like, they gave us a few more like pieces of paper to fill out and stuff. You know, they had to ask where we were, where we stayed and spent most of our time in the USA, so that they knew what category we fell under, whether we had to do any kind of hotel quarantining, whether we had to do 3 days, 6 days, or the full 14 days in a hotel. So, you know, there's a few different, depending on the location, the state that you're in and stuff, depends on how many days you have to quarantine for, just because of how, like, you know, the severity of that state, whether or not like the whole place is infected and so forth, right? It's pretty understandable, I guess. So luckily I'm only 3 days in a hotel. The rest of my quarantine will be spent at home. So I'm only here for another like day and a half. On the third day, you do a test in the morning and I get to go back to the airport. They take us back to the airport. We'll get to that, but I get to go back at like 4 p.m. on the third day. Anyways, so we go through that section, fill out all the paperwork, they confirm everything. We go straight into a COVID test. They make us spit in a test tube that has a number on it. That number that was on that test tube then becomes your number for the rest of the entire quarantining period. So you are no longer a name and a person, you are a number, right? After you get out of there, you then go into another section where they pretty much check all your paperwork again. Then they start asking you to make sure you have these apps installed and everything is set up and configured so that they can track your every single location during the quarantine period. These apps, like once they finish, they kind of uninstall anyways, and then you just delete the app. Like they uninstall like the connection that they have with the Japanese servers and stuff with the Ministry of Health. So we go through all of that, everything's set up on my phone, everything's all good, and I have all the paperwork ready to leave the airport and get sent to my quarantine hotel, right? Confirmed I'm in a hotel for 3 days, and I will be transported there all free of charge by the government. So this is another reason why it's kind of like hard to complain about this, because this is all being provided to us as a free service, you know, like we're not being charged to stay in these hotels. So anyways, we finish all of that and then we get put into a waiting room. So I think the last clip I showed you guys were all the seats. That was just to get to the desk where they confirm where you stayed at to work out where your hotel is. After that, we all got put in another whole seating area, thousands of seats there, and they had the entire alphabet of sections, and I think it went to 100 seats for each section. So you'd have A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, all the way through to the whole alphabet, and each A, B, C, D section, like letter section, there was 100 seats. Insane. So many seats. I get there, and at first I think we were one of the first flights to come in, so I thought things were going to go quickly. And I sit down with my group and everything in the D section, believe it or not. I was in the D section. And then they started calling numbers out. They were around my number. I'm like 300 and something. And at that point, you know, they're calling like 3:30. I'm like, oh, sick, I'll be next, you know. And it's only been like maybe like 45 minutes to an hour after. Oh, no, it's definitely been over an hour after we got off the flight. So I'm like, oh, sick, I'm going to get through pretty quickly and get on a bus and taken to the hotel. But boy, was I wrong. They called out past my number. And then they started calling other numbers up in the 500, 600, 700s, and I'm sitting there like, okay, something's up. Then they start calling only Japanese people. Like this is like after another like 2.5 hours of me sitting there. Finally, they start calling groups up who have to go to hotels. So at first they were calling those numbers out for people that didn't have to stay at hotels and could go to their own house and self-quarantine, right? So people who didn't have to deal with going to hotels or any kind of government like accommodation. And then they started calling groups of people up, but they only called up like Japanese citizens, like Japanese people. They didn't call up any foreigners for all the groups that went first. So that was kind of a little disappointing and felt a little weird. And then when they finally started getting to the gaijins, or the foreigners like me and other people, some people next, like in the section next to me, had been waiting for 8 hours. I had been waiting for, I think at the total time was 7 hours. Like it was insane. No food, no water. Kids, like families, like parents were stuck there with their like toddlers and babies screaming, crying, no access to our real luggage that was checked, only like the bags we brought on the plane with us. It was bad. Like people were like passing out, sleeping on the floor. Like you got to realize we've just come from the USA. We are on the time zone of the USA, and they just made us stay awake the entire time of Japanese time. Literally, I didn't get to even get off that seat until 10:30 p.m. Like, and our flight landed there at like 2 something. So like it was bad. And like I'm jet lagged as all hell. I'm like really tired and exhausted, nodding on and off, and like just no food and water is what killed me. I was starving to death. And like just it was such a crappy environment. Like you would ask questions, people would just tell you to sit back down. It was some weird vibe stuff. Yeah, like I just don't really know how to describe it. It was just terrible experience. And then when we finally got called for the hotel, things kind of started moving quickly for that after, waiting for like 7.5 hours, 7 hours, I think it was. I finally, we got through immigration super fast, grabbed my luggage. We waited 5 minutes outside of the gate. It was like 10-15 minutes for like everyone to get through, and then we had to wait like 5 minutes just for the bus to arrive. We all got put on a bus. I fell asleep the moment I sat down on the bus, woke up like an hour later, and we're at this APA hotel like in the central of Tokyo. So I still have a little bit of a cough too. All the heaters is like super dry air, and it's really irritating my throat. I also have light asthma, so normally once I get sick, I have a cough that lingers for a little bit, and I don't have my puffer with me. That's at home, so that normally makes it go away real fast. But yeah. Anyways, that's kind of everything that went down. It definitely wasn't the greatest experience, and I'm pretty disappointed about it. Like, I didn't really care so much about me and what I had to go through. It was more just like seeing the kids like screaming and crying and stuff, and that's what really got to me. It made me realize that this is just not okay to be treated that way. So I'm gonna file a complaint personally. I already tweeted at them, not like that's gonna do anything, but I was wondering if like other people were gonna jump on board and kind of like, snowball effect. But like, I understand the situation. I understand that, this is what's required to make sure that, the spread and all that kind of stuff is under control. Like, I've already gotten an email as well saying from the Ministry of Health that someone has been confirmed on our flight as testing positive. So it was, yeah, there's definitely a chance that we've all been exposed who came off that flight. So, like, I know that the system is there to protect people and all that kind of stuff, but I just feel like the system's broken when you have kids and families stuck there sitting for 8 hours with no food and water in a very uncomfortable, hard like chair, nowhere to rest and lie down. People that have just come off 14-hour flights from a different time zone, are jet lagged. It's just creating an environment where you're wearing down people's immune systems. Like, also, there was like no heating in the room. It was freezing cold. It's a broken system. It was very disappointing to see that, they looked after only Japanese people first. And yeah, I just think like the whole system could be done so much better. Getting text messages. Yes, that is One Piece. Don't judge me. It's been like that for years. I love that ringtone for text. But anyways, I hope this kind of gives you a little bit of an insight as to what's happening here, especially coming back into Japan. It's definitely not like the easiest thing in the world. The paperwork is pretty hectic, but as long as you go to the Ministry of Health website and read everything that's required that you need to fill out, have it all filled out beforehand, you'll be okay. Look, if you don't have to quarantine, you get your test results back in literally like 40 minutes. Like 30 to 40 minutes, people were standing up and leaving who didn't have to quarantine with a negative test result. People that were testing positive, you would know, because like 2 Japanese people would come out in like a full blue like hazmat suit, nothing covering, like not like a full hazmat suit with like a big thing around their head, but just their body would be fully covered, and then they had like a face shield on and a mask and all that kind of stuff, and they just kind of come up to you and then they'd just ask you to go with them into a back room, so you knew who came up tested positive. And it was kind of a bit awkward how they handled that, but yeah, I mean, for the most part, like, I understand. I just want to make sure, like, I don't want to come across like I'm complaining and, I'm entitled or anything like that. That's not what I want. I understand that this is something that we need to do, but I think they could really improve on that situation and make sure that people weren't suffering like that, especially kids. Like, that really affected me. I think like that made me really upset. But anyways, we are back home, we are in Japan, and let me show you what I got for dinner today. So this is dinner, and how this works is actually kind of funny. We get an announcement over the speaker there that pretty much says that they're placing food on our door handle, and that we're not allowed to go outside until they do another announcement to say that it's safe for us to collect it, because they don't want us obviously infecting stuff if we're infected. Yeah, we have to wear our mask and everything, and just open the door slightly and pull this in. Once we're finished eating, we're meant to take the bag that's been sealed and dump it out the front, where they then come and collect the trash. It's kind of interesting. Anyways, the food hasn't been too bad. It's actually been pretty good. It's all been like fairly like decent priced bentos, so it's not like super cheap. Looks like tonight we've got a cup of miso soup, which is nice, which I'll use the kettle for there. So miso soup, I like that. Another bottle of water. By the way, they're just providing bottled water to us, which is great. Every time I run out of any kind of water, because they give you 2 like per day on top of it, I just call them and they bring more to me, so super nice. And then this, one-handed vlogger life, is the bento for tonight. Let's see what they gave us. Ooh, this actually looks really good. This slip of paper is just letting you know like what kind of food's in here, and if you're allergic, to let them know. Damn, this looks amazing, guys. Look at this. So it looks like we got a little bit of like, oh, that looks like some chicken. Got vegetables. Yo, little chocolate cake. I'm excited about that. Some yakisoba noodles there. Some rice. Vegetables. Looks like tofu. Looks pretty good. Not too bad. And the miso soup. The miso soup, this is bussin'. We love this. So that's dinner. The food's been really good. I can't complain, actually, about the food. Some of my friends that went through quarantine got the worst food, like pancakes, and in the middle of the pancakes, they put potato salad like a sandwich. I'm not joking. Like, I've really lucked out. I'm in an APA hotel. This is actually a pretty decently priced hotel. Double bed as well. I'm excited about that. But yeah, that's dinner for tonight. So I'm going to make that, enjoy it, and then watch my buddies streaming on Twitch. Also, I'm in pajamas, because who wants to wear anything else other than their pajamas when they're stuck in a hotel for 3 days and can't even go outside, like into the hallway? So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed today's video. I'm gonna wrap it up here. It's gonna be a short one. There ain't gonna be some content for a while because of obvious situations. I will be out of quarantine on the 23rd Japan time, so should be good. Unfortunately, I missed Tokyo Auto Salon too, so that sucks. Yeah, that really sucks for me. But hey, those that do get to go, enjoy. I forgot to tell you guys, but one of these apps, literally they call you every day to confirm where you are. I'm not even joking. I just got a notification now. Oh, they're calling right now. They want to call and know my like where I am. Hang on, I gotta do this. That was literally it. They just called, recorded where I was, and done. Super weird. They just want to confirm where you are, and if you don't answer that, they start going crazy. They start calling you non-stop, and then like police will be sent after you. Like, it's actually insane. They've actually caught some people who breached like quarantine and stuff. It's been a little bit interesting over here. Anyways, so yeah, I can't go anywhere. And they want to confirm that you are who you are, and they want to check your face and use facial recognition software and everything to confirm it's actually you. Anyways, I'm going to enjoy dinner. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I hope no one else has to go through what I went through, but I know this isn't over anytime soon, and we've all just got to pull together and get through it together. So thanks for watching, guys. I'll be back in 2 weeks because of obvious reasons. Hang out for then. We've got some exciting stuff happening. There's a couple new cars and crazy insane announcements coming, so thanks for watching. See you guys in the next one. Peace. Jamata.